All right, so to revisit chloroquine and the other antibiotics, there's a chance that some combination of this stuff becomes standard of care, and it does save some significant percentage of people who, might knock down fatality statistics by 75% or more. But I don't know. We just got to wait and see. But we won't have to wait long. Anyway, I read the articles you sent me and found one on my own. And for 5 of the 8 years that Obama was president, he asked for cuts to the CDC budget. So that's true. It's a little bit. It's a little bit of whataboutism, but yeah, he did. But anyway, I don't know. Let's move on to.
Well, no, I wanted to say something. Before I forget. This is a different topic. Okay. This is a different topic. So last week, I had brought up something that happened that I thought was very significant, and that is that the U.S. is now testing its first hypersonic missile. And this, to recap briefly, the Russians and the Chinese got ahead of us on hypersonic weapons. Now, the important thing about these hypersonic weapons is that they're so fast that there's no defense against them. Now, it's true that you don't depend on defending against a nuclear attack. I mean, if somebody sends 10,000 nuclear warheads at you, even if they're slow, you don't take the risk because maybe 10 of them will get through and you lose half your country. But these hypersonic weapons can be used for all kinds of things. For example, you could knock out everything in Iran, every facility they have to build nuclear weapons, within minutes of making the decision. And there's nothing in the Iranian arsenal that could possibly shoot them down. You just have to decide you want to do it. Now, the reason we started developing these is because the Russians and the Chinese got ahead of us under Obama, and Trump pushed this through, and now ours are ahead of the Chinese, and we're breathing down the Russians' neck. Maybe ours are within they're predicting that ours will surpass the Russians. So my question to you is, Rick, if Trump is colluding with the Russians, as you've maintained for the past 3 years, why is he developing a hypersonic missile that will match or surpass the Russian missile?
Well, he's still president of the U.S. and he cares about the U.S. And so if the Joint Chiefs say, look, our 2 biggest potential enemies or actual enemies are developing this super dangerous weapon, we have to get going on it. Obviously, I mean, he's going to say he may be. You always like to say that I say that Trump is a spy, that I claim that Trump is a spy or whatever, but like for the Russians, but like Trump will make some reasonable decisions. I'm not claiming that Trump is secretly such a Russian stooge that he's trying to destroy the U.S. because he loves Putin. That's a ridiculous thing. Of course, if enemies of the U.S. if he's briefed and he's told that enemies of the U.S. are developing this very dangerous weapon, he's going to say, well, we need to develop the same fucking weapon.
That's not what you argued with me last year. Last year, you were convinced that Trump was colluded with Russia. And then I said to you, but what about the Battle of Bashan, where U.S. troops killed as many as 500 Russians? And you argued, no, he's still colluding. I remember. You argued he's still colluding with Russia, but on the ground, in public, he pretended to fight them. He fought them, but he could still be colluding. If anybody wants to go back through our shows, you'll see that Rick wouldn't back down. He insisted that Trump was still colluding with Russia, but fighting them
that doesn't
Syria.
fucking mean a guy can. the guy can like Putin and respect Putin and make decisions that seem to be, like that aren't sufficiently, say, punitive towards Russia for reasons that.
Like what?
I don't know, like he was reluctant for a long time to pass certain sanctions, but then they eventually got passed, or they got passed in Congress, and then he was reluctant to sign them or enforce. But anyway, it doesn't mean that the guy has to 100%. We were attacked at, what is it, Bashan? We were attacked by a shitload of guys that included a passel of Russian mercenaries who may have actually been Russian troops kind of hired as, I don't know. But anyway, if we're attacked, we're going to...
Okay, but my point is, Rick, is that at no point in the 3 years we've been doing this show have you said, you know what, Lance, I don't think Trump colluded with Russia. I think that was all bullshit. And I'm now telling you that not only did we fight them in Syria, killing hundreds of them, but we're now developing a weapon so advanced that we could destroy their country. Both decisions to fight them in Syria and to develop this weapon were Trump's decision. It doesn't sound like he colluded with Russia, Rick, but you insisted that he did, and he needed to be investigated and impeached.
Yeah.
So what is it?
I don't have to back down from that.
Or not?
A guy can be manipulated by Russia and still make decisions that are against Russia some of the time.
But Rick, the Russians are not doing a very good job at manipulating him. I don't understand, Rick. Why aren't they manipulating him in such a way that they won't get this bomb developed that we can shoot at them? That Trump will stop killing their soldiers by the hundreds.
How would they do that? I mean, I know how they could do that.
You know what they could do is Putin could say, listen, Trump, I want you to not develop that hypersonic missile. And then Trump would say, okay, boss, I'll do it. I'll make up an excuse. I'll say it's too expensive.
It's never been like that. And the deal is Putin could announce arms. Let's have some arms talks. We're developing this very dangerous weapon. It could be destabilizing. So let's have some talks and see whether. But Putin doesn't want to do that. Trump has thrown out some of the previous arms control treaties. I'm not very well informed on what treaties got thrown out or violated by whom. I think Trump announced he was getting rid of some arms control treaties because Putin seemed to be violating them.
But I don't understand, Rick. I thought he was being manipulated by Russia. Why didn't he just go along with what Putin wanted?
He doesn't have to be. A guy can be, like, you can go on 538 and you can see how many times every congressperson has voted with Trump on bills. And obviously Republicans a lot of them are in the 90s or 100% of the time, and a lot of Democrats are under 20%. It doesn't mean that Trump is going to be 100% everything pro-Russia. That's not the fucking deal.
But Rick, where is he pro-Russia? On what important issue is Trump helping Russia against his country? That's what you accused him of.
I mentioned one thing where...
Yeah, Rick, wait, I've got a good idea. Why don't you admit that you were fucking wrong?
No, fuck you. No, fuck off.
So Trump, then you prove to me that Trump is colluding with Russia.
This is like an old argument you keep... I think Trump was like... Well, I say the same shit every time. That Trump has it's well known Trump has a favorable view of Putin. He likes Putin. And
can you prove to me that he colluded with Russia? Prove it.
I don't have to. It's fucking 3 years later. We're discussing other shit.
No,
and
no,
I
no,
know
no,
I don't
no,
want to
no.
have
I
this
want
fucking
you to
argument
admit.
again. I don't fuck
I'll
you. I'm
tell
not
you.
going to have
I'll
the
tell
fucking
you
argument.
why.
I'm
I'll
just
tell you.
not going to have the fucking argument again.
All right,
I'm
then I'll
not going to
tell
have
you.
the fucking argument again.
All
Trump
right,
took
I
money from Russian oligarchs, money laundering through Trump real estate.
That's
Trump
not true.
wanted to
I'm
build
gonna.
the Trump Tower in Moscow. Trump has a favorable view of Putin.
He
Trump
didn't
did
build
some
a Trump.
shit that was. Trump
He
likes
didn't
Putin.
build. There is no Trump Tower in Moscow.
I never said there was, but he worked towards getting it built for many years.
Well, why isn't it built since he's being manipulated by Putin? Why didn't he get his tower?
I don't know. I don't know the fucking chronology of why the.
Maybe the reason is because he's not.
I don't know.
Colluding with Russia.
I could look it up. The tower wasn't built. Shut down for a second. I mean, it's just one of the many things that
I'll
ties.
tell you why I'm bringing it up. I'll tell you why I'm bringing it up because Rick, one.
By the way, I'm touching my face a lot when you say stupid shit, and I'm allowed to touch my face at home.
Well, the reason I'm bringing it up, Rick, is that for 3 years you refused to back down on Trump colluding with Russia.
To back down.
Yeah, and also because Trump said hydroxychloroquine works, you can't accept that either. You're willing to give your life.
I just fucking said it might fucking work, you fucking asshole. I just said give it 3 weeks to have decent drug trials. You fucking dick. I just said it might work. It just came out of my fucking mouth fucking 8 minutes ago, you dickhead. Fuck you. Come on, I said it might work in combination with a...
But the reason you didn't accept it 3 weeks ago, when I told you that it was going to work, and if your life had depended on it, you would be dead right now, is because Trump said it would work.
Fucking, if I was so fucking sick and people said this stuff has been proven has been shown anecdotally. If I'm in the hospital, I'm on a ventilator, respirator, and somebody says this stuff is pretty unproven, but there's some anecdotal evidence that it might knock down the infection, then yeah, I would say, all right, they would say, it's caused heart arrhythmias in some people, but only if you stay on it for more than 10 days. Then I'd say, well, fucking yeah, let's try it, because I'm in deep shit here of dying from the virus. And I'll take a shot. Of course I would do that. Anybody.
I understand that, but Rick, here's the problem. Just as you are so brainwashed that you won't back down that Trump colluded with Russia, you also were so brainwashed that you didn't accept 3 weeks ago when I told you hydroxychloroquine was going to be the cure.
Yeah, because you didn't know 3 weeks ago, and you still don't fucking know now.
I did. I knew it then, and I know it now.
You don't. You fucking don't. You're not a science guy. There's a lot of shit. You know everything about art. You don't know a lot about fucking science. There's a chance the shit works. There might even be better than a 50% chance that it will be a fucking thing.
I'm making a point here. My point is that your Trump derangement syndrome, your brainwashing by the Democrats, is preventing you from seeing things clearly. No one on the
fucking
planet.
Bullshit. I can see shit clearly that there's anecdotal evidence. There are even some numbers behind it.
Yeah, but why is it that I knew 3 weeks ago, and even today I had to argue with you?
Because you were hoping that it's a fucking thing
I knew it would work.
Because you had faith it would work. It's a faith. It's fucking faith, you asshole.
Rick,
it's faith. It's faith based on your political beliefs.
No, it's not based on my political beliefs. Here's what happened 3 weeks ago, guys. I just want you to know what a rational person does that hasn't been brainwashed. 3 weeks ago, Trump said, we might have this cure, hydroxychloroquine. So I looked it up, and it turned out that Didier Rault, the foremost virologist in the world, had developed it and had succeeded in curing 20 people. So I knew 3 weeks ago because I'm not brainwashed.
No, the
but
fucking
because
I
Rick is
looked at the
brainwashed,
study. 6 of the people had life-threatening cases of the shit, and I think all 6 improved. Maybe 5 out of 6. I don't know. It was he tested it on 20 people. Some of them didn't have very serious symptoms. 5 or 6 people out of 6 people with serious symptoms improved.
well,
Which
nobody died.
is a good
Rick,
thing,
except
but
for the
fucking
one old
if the
man
shit.
that was already dying. Now,
What?
Rick, the point I'm trying to make is that because I'm not brainwashed, I knew this was going to work, and we started out this conversation 2 hours ago with you telling me you weren't sure it would work.
That's
You were
right,
very,
and
very
so
hesitant.
that's why you do
Hey,
fucking clinical trials.
no, that's
Fucking, I
why.
didn't. When you brought up this guy, I hadn't read very much about him. He'd done a study of just a few people. It's a fucking disease that kills 2%. Now, if it was Ebola that kills 70%. For a disease that kills 2% of everybody, you have to test more people to get a definite signal that it's working than if it's a disease that kills 70 or 80% like Ebola. If this guy, if fucking if he tested 20 people who had Ebola, you know what I'm fucking saying? Come on, let me fucking say it then, motherfucker. If 20 people had Ebola and he gave it to some drug to 20 people and they all made it, that's a more significant result than if he gave this drug to people who had a 2% chance of dying from coronavirus and they all made it. It's just, right. I mean, it's fucking math.
Okay, I have some very scientific things to say, and then I don't want you to interrupt me. I'll keep it brief, and then we'll change subjects.
Okay.
1, for 3 years, Rick's been telling me that Trump colluded with Russia, and my argument has been, well, the Mueller report didn't find that.
It fucking found obstruction of justice. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I wasn't going to... No, sorry, go ahead.
1, the Mueller report did not find that Trump colluded with Russia. 2, Trump fought Russia and killed hundreds of them in the battle in Syria. 3, Trump is developing a hypersonic weapon that will be able to destroy their country. Ergo, I say to myself, gee, I don't think Trump colluded with Russia because I'm not brainwashed. 3 weeks ago, Trump says, you know, we may have this cure. It's called hydroxychloroquine. So I go I type it in and I read the study. Oh, guess what? This doctor, foremost virologist in the world, he's cured 20 people. Well, you know what? I think they may have a cure because I'm not brainwashed. That's the difference, Rick. You're too brainwashed by your political handlers.
The foremost virologist.
Didier Rault is the foremost virologist in the world.
All right, here we go. Fucking come on, everybody.
Now Rick doesn't believe that. It's like it's a shock to him. You see what happens when you're brainwashed by the Democrats?
Just not knowing a thing doesn't mean I'm fucking brainwashed.
Well, I've been telling you for 3 weeks. I sent you the article 3 weeks ago.
That he's the foremost virologist? I read the fucking study. It didn't say it was written by the foremost virologist.
Didier Rault is rated #1 in the world in his field. I don't know if it's virology or epidemiology.
All right, let's see. This is, I don't know what this fucking thing is. This is just some lunatic's website.
Well, just type in Didier Rault.
I did. I fucking did.
Look him up on Wikipedia if you have to. It's a fucking left-wing thing, but I don't think they've gotten Wikipedia changes everything to being left-wing. They may have gotten to Didier Rault by now, but if you look him up, he's the foremost guy in the world in this field, and he's curing people, but Rick can't accept it because he's a Democrat. It's sick.
Hold on. Oh, he doesn't believe in climate change. Fun. All right. Hold on. Here we go. Let's talk about the shit we're watching while I read this shit. All right.
I'm watching zombie movies. So I've been watching. The director has mentioned something very important, Rick, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna set it up while you look up to see if Didier Raoult is a qualified scientist. Uh, okay, so Rick doesn't believe that Didier Raoult is a qualified
All right. So he's
scientist
got a bunch of
because
really
he's a
good
Democrat.
credentials. All right. All right. In 20.
Okay, so
All right.
okay, fine. So we can both agree, even though Rick's a Democrat, he understands that Didier Raoult is a qualified scientist.
Yeah.
Okay, now I want to talk about Joe Biden. It turns out that a credible source has accused him of sexual assault. And according to the Me Too movement, according to the Democrats, all women must be believed. So it looks like your guy Biden is a sexual assaulter.
Nah, I don't believe her. I don't. You know what? I don't fucking believe her.
But wait a minute, I don't understand. You believed that Kavanaugh was a sexual predator, assaulter, but you don't believe that Biden is a sexual assaulter. Let me give you some details about the sexual assault.
I know. I'll tell you. A woman
accused
accuses Joe Biden of getting her alone and jamming a couple fingers into her vagina.
Well, not only that, Rick, but this woman, it was on his staff. She's not just a woman that met him. Rick, to give some background to this so people watching will understand how brainwashed Rick is, a woman that had never met Trump before says that Trump raped her in the dressing room of a department store.
How do you know that she never met Trump before?
Because she did not work for Trump.
Yeah, but they went to the same parties and shit. They were casual.
So okay, Rick, let me tell you the difference between the people, okay? I do not know if this woman had been to a party with Trump. I do know that the woman accusing Biden was his staffer. Do you understand, Rick? She worked with Biden every day, and she is saying that this guy raped her, but you don't believe it. Whereas you do believe that a woman that did not know Trump was raped by him in the dressing room of a department store.
Yeah, she knew Trump. She was already... But anyway, who cares? That doesn't fucking matter.
I guess that doesn't really help your case, Rick.
Yeah, I don't fucking care. I'm going to believe what I'm going to... I don't fucking care. I'm going to believe what I'm going to believe. There are some mitigating... There are some things that do cast... that do lead to... She wrote, like, glowing praise of Putin, and including she wrote a glowing article on Putin in Russian.
Who did?
You know, none of this excuses.
Wait! You're saying that the person that Biden sexually assaulted is a Russian spy?
No, but who knows what the fuck she is? But
wait a minute. The Democrats have convinced you that this woman is a Russian spy?
No, but I would say that she might have a fucking different agenda. Like, let's see. All right.
So the Democrats have already managed to come up with slander against her.
Yeah, sure,
so
yes,
they
have.
We zombies have.
Her name is Tara Reid. After Reid told her story of Biden's inappropriate touching last year, this is before she said he stuck her fingers in her vagina. She says she received a wave of attention, including the accusation she was doing the bidding of Russian President Putin, according to The Intercept. Putin is her favorite guy. This caused her to go quiet. However, as Biden's presidential run persisted, Reid began to reconsider staying quiet. To obtain legal assistance and to manage what she guessed would be a serious backlash for her accusations, Reid reached out to Time's Up in January 2020. Ultimately, the group couldn't assist her because the person she was accusing was a candidate for federal office, which I guess is...
Rick,
yeah.
Who told you that she was a Russian spy?
Nobody told me she was a Russian spy, but there are documents that show that that she's written glowing editorials, including one in Russia praising Putin.
Well, Rick, let me ask you a question. If she was a Biden staff member, wouldn't that reflect poorly on the Democrats? So let me get this straight. If you're working for the Democrats and you praise Russia, it means you're a spy for Trump and Putin? So your claim is she's lying because she's a Russian spy?
No, I don't know what her deal is, but I don't know.
Wait. Who accused her of that? What is your source for that?
Her record of writing shit.
She wrote. She is. So you're saying that she couldn't have been raped by Biden. She's actually working for Putin? You're disgusting, Rick.
Listen, here's an article. Fuck you. Here's an article. Here's an article from The Guardian, a legit London paper. Why has the media ignored sexual assault allegations against Biden? And this is actually going to, let's see.
You make me sick.
Fine. Fuck you. I'll make you sick.
So Biden gets to stick his fingers up women's cunts? You think that's okay, huh, Rick?
I don't think he did it. I don't think he did it.
The person that did it, because she's a spy for Russia.
I don't think he did it.
Well, why did she write these things in praise of Putin? Is she a Russian spy?
You love to say spy and then there's a whole bunch of different...
Well, I don't understand. Is she working for Putin, Rick?
I don't know, but she might be working for Trump against Biden. All right,
well,
so
she worked for Biden. The only thing we know for sure is that she worked for Biden when he attacked her.
Yeah, so here's the deal. So here are the 5 things. Here's Heavy.com, which likes to distill things down into 5 facts. Tara Reid, 5 facts you need to know. 1, Reid alleged in a podcast interview that Biden sexually assaulted her against a wall. That's with the fingers. And thing 2, Reid previously came forward with other allegations after another woman accused Biden of being inappropriate. Like the previous year, she said that inappropriate touching. At the time, though, Reid did not allege that Biden sexually assaulted her. Let's see. Fact 3, Reid was criticized for comments she made about Vladimir Putin and has urged people to vote for Bernie Sanders. Thing 4, hold on, I have to scroll down. Reid described a difficult relationship with her father and time spent in Hollywood. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but it's one of the 5 facts. And Joe Biden denies that he ever acted inappropriately. Anyway, okay, so Rick,
a Biden supporter accuses
a Bernie Sanders supporter.
A Bernie Sanders supporter says that while she was working for Biden, he raped her, and your conclusion is she's a Russian spy.
No, but I'm saying she might have some other fucking agenda. This article.
I see. Maybe her agenda is that he sexually assaulted her, and now she wants to vote for Sanders because she didn't like getting raped.
Maybe, but I don't have to fucking believe her. I'm entitled to my beliefs, and you can call me whatever the fuck you want.
There was an echo. I'm getting an echo. Director. Okay, listen, Rick. Maybe the reason she's telling people to vote for Biden is that she did not enjoy. The reason she's telling people to vote for Sanders is because she didn't enjoy being raped by Biden.
Maybe
that's her agenda.
Maybe, but at this point I don't believe her.
Okay, so you really just believe anything you want about Trump because you're not a fair person.
Because I'm not a what? Okay.
All right. There was some echo there, so I'm going to repeat this. I'm going to present that the reason she wants people to vote for Sanders is because she didn't enjoy having Biden's agenda. And the second point I'd like to make is that Rick is nothing but a big, fat hypocrite because he believes the woman was raped by Trump in a dressing room in a department store when they'd never met, and this woman was his staffer. She was Biden's staffer for years, and he raped her. She is a more credible source, but the reason Rick doesn't believe her is not because he's an objective scientist. It's because he's a brainwashed Democrat shill. I can't hear you, Rick.
All right, let's finish up with the shit we're watching. Two of us are cooped up. The director's cooped up. I'm cooped up. You, Lance, are exercising. Are you cooped up? What are you doing? You staying home?
I'm not cooped up. I'm running around.
So you're
getting out as much as I can.
Okay, so you're enjoying your freedom.
I'm a carrier.
Okay, you're going to fucking CVS 6 times a week.
Getting out as much
All right,
as I
so
can.
I watched.
Wait. I want you guys to know that restaurants are open for takeout. I'm going to every restaurant that will give me takeout. I'm driving all over the place, and I'm meeting people. Okay. I admit it.
Okay, so with Carol, we tried. What's his name? Tiger. What's the fucking? Oh shit. Tiger King. We tried that. Carol got bored. I haven't gone back to it. We watched all of Fleabag. Carol liked it enough to watch the whole thing. I'd already seen the second season. I'm watching Babylon Berlin on Netflix, which is about how fucked up Berlin was in the 1920s. What else? I'm watching Ozark, but I'm not enjoying it much because everybody on Ozark is an asshole and there's nobody to root for. So every time I watch it, I tend to fall asleep. But that's what happens when you start watching shit at 2 in the morning. I don't know. What do you got, Lance?
I would just like to say I've been watching Trump's speeches, and are you muting me? Because I'm getting an echo. Okay. So I've been watching Trump's speeches. I'm really shocked. I will admit, I'm shocked that Fauci said that, but I think he's just trying to scare us. A lot of the times these experts, they tell you that it's certain death if you sit next to someone with secondhand smoke. If they're smoking and you sit next to them, you get cancer. And they're lying about that. And I think that if you listen to the fire department, I used to work at a place, and the fire department said, well, if you keep your doors open in this office building, it'll spread the fire if there's a fire. So we had to shut all of our doors on the 1,000 to 1 chance that there could be a fire. So I'm just saying, I think when Fauci says that 100,000 deaths minimum, I think he's just trying to scare people because that's the responsible doctorish thing to do. But as far as what I'm watching Trump's speeches, and I think they're very beautiful, very educational, very reassuring. I'm sorry that he's shutting us down till the end of April, but I think the reason he's doing that is because he's the CEO of America, and we're the stockholders. And the stockholders are telling him, we want 0 deaths, as close to 0 as possible, and so that's what he's going to give us. As far as what I'm watching, besides his speeches, his conferences, his press conferences, I'm watching a lot of zombie movies. I'm watching as many zombie movies as I can. And I have to say, every time I drive out on the deserted streets of LA, I wonder, where are the zombies? And sometimes, I will admit, I walk like I'm a zombie to try to scare people. Like, people will walk toward me, and I don't want spittle. I'm trying to master getting spittle to come out of my mouth. but I kind of walk like this and I talk in a kind of a gasping, rasping voice. I swear to God I'm doing this now because I want to frighten people. So, yeah, I am walking like a zombie. I'm not seeing any zombies. I haven't been bitten by a zombie, but I'm acting like one. Yes. All right. That's all I have to say.
I've come to dislike zombie stuff because zombies are so fucking one note. They just do this. I like if something like does something fresh with the zombie deal, I'll be kind of into it. But regular straightforward zombies are just so fucked out. Though it is, if you do go out of your house, you can. It's like driving the streets now is like being back in the 80s, when you can get to any place within LA within like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, so one last thing. Defend Trump's tweets today. And you don't have to. You can say just those, but where he talked about, he bragged, he did 3 tweets bragging about how the high ratings of his presidential press conferences, that he's getting ratings like The Bachelor and the Super Bowl.
I think it's fantastic. I think that the Democrats, he's no matter what they do, they just keep losing. And what's going to happen right now is it looks like the Biden campaign is completely collapsed. He has 0 chance of winning. Biden, everything depended on the Democrats convincing their following that Trump was that he is mishandling the coronavirus crisis, and it turns out nobody's buying it. There are even Democrats, hardened Democrats that I'm talking with that are saying, he's doing a pretty good job. I mean, it's not his fault that this all happened, and he's really handling it. I mean, he's really showing leadership. So the Democrats, Rick, if it upsets
yeah, but what about, is it presidential to brag about your fucking ratings?
I think.
Yeah. All right, but fine. But he's tweeting it proudly, so like,
yeah, he should
I just don't see fucking.
Because you know what? For 3 years, he's had to endure people like you saying that he colluded with Russia and deserved to be impeached, and now he's getting used to you. You need to get used to the fact that he's going to be the president for the next 4.5 years, and thank God. So right, I just think it's wonderful, and furthermore, what I'm looking forward to is that we can get rid of those zombies, Nancy Pelosi, who tried to put billions into green energy and new social justice agendas into the stimulus bill.
All right, so I don't want to argue about the stimulus bill because that's a whole. We've already gone like 2 hours on this shit.
Trump tries to get a bill to get money to people that are out of work, and I don't know that I agree to it, but he's trying to do it. And Nancy Pelosi wants a bill that the government gets to decide how many women and minorities are on the boards of companies. Is that insane?
No, but anyway, I don't want to argue about it because I don't know the particulars of all this shit. And we're
money for the Green New Deal. She wanted to get in money for solar power and the green energy.
Well, it's a $6.2 trillion deal.
It's
each side had shit that was iffy.
The Republicans wanted to get money into people's hands that were going broke because of coronavirus, and the Democrats wanted to try to get money. They wanted to control companies so that they could decide the racial and gender makeup of their companies.
The Republicans wanted, I think they got $500 billion for corporate bailouts. And,
okay, great, Rick.
But
Rick,
you can defend that. But anyway, I don't know. I want to be done.
All right.
What was the last thing we were fucking arguing about?
whether Trump should be tweeting about how great he's doing, and I think good. I want people to know he's going to.
No, here's what's actually happening. Trump's overall approval has been inching up. Probably it's up 3-4% on overall if you aggregate all the polls, which is significant for Trump. He doesn't usually. I think he probably has the highest approval since he became president. But what's also holding up is in polls, Biden still beats Trump according to most polls. So that lead hasn't been decaying. Yeah. And both the Trump approval in a time of crisis is, people have been saying, and I agree with it, that people tend to increase their approval of a president who's fighting a crisis. After 9/11, Bush's approval went to 92%, which was the highest of any president in the history of approval polls, because he was leading the country through the aftermath of 9/11. So Trump goes up 4%. It's not 92% approval. It's 45.4% approval.
Do you think that Biden will beat Trump, Rick?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, Vegas has been saying no, and I haven't checked the odds lately. You can't actually bet in Vegas on politics, but you can bet through like London-based bookmakers. But Trump has been favored like 60-40 for a year or more against the Democrats, and I don't think his numbers have decayed in terms of betting. So I don't know.
All right.
Okay.
I just want to give you a piece of advice. During the second term of Reagan, a lot of Democrats just began to relax and say, you know what? People like Reagan. Maybe it's not such a bad thing that he's president. And I advise you to get comfortable with the idea, Rick. Get comfortable with it. It'll be better for you.
No, thank you. All right.
If you have to endure Trump as president, you may as well just lie down and enjoy it.
No, thank you. And I don't have to. I can. We can go someplace else. All right. All right. Okay, that sounds good. And I can. All right. Thank you, guys. Stay healthy and safe and all that shit. All right.
Good night.
Good night.